Fire 106 Brown Bag Mornings, LA's number one for hip hop. You know we are gotta talk about it. Tu voz, tu voto, tu vida. And today we have the honor to be with Assembly Member Reggie Jones-Sawyer. We're gonna call you Reggie.
Reggie.
Yes.
That's what you like to be called.
That's what I like to be called.
Now you are out here repping for the city of South Central up north in Sacramento for us, right?
Yes, definitely.
We were just talking about I was like, it feels like a Monday. Monday's just, and you're like, no, Mondays I'm busy. Mondays I'm usually on a plane.
Yes,
What's
I
the
am.
day like for an assembly member?
A day like for an assembly member usually starts, especially on a Monday. You get into your office and you take care of all the legislative duties that you need to do and follow up on your phone calls from the district. And then you go to the floor to actually vote on bills. It's called a session. And that's when 80 members of the assembly get together and try to determine what bills we are going to pass to make sure that your lives are much better than it ever has been before.
Wow.
Nice.
And you do all of that. And when do you
That's
fly
just
back
Monday.
home to the district?
So we come back home generally on Thursday afternoon, and then we spend our time in the district on Thursday afternoon dealing with constituents. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then Monday we start it all over
back.
again.
Wow.
That's wild.
That's
I have a
crazy.
Theo that does the same thing, but it's because he has two different families. And he wants them each to believe that he is the dad and the husband.
Yes.
This one's way better for us. This is a way better life.
For the right reasons.
And no, we do not have two different families.
There you go. There's one family.
Just
and
for the record, just in case people are listening.
Right. And the districts in the state that we take care of. Has this been an ambition of yours, Reggie, since you were young? You grew up in Arkansas. You came out here to Los Angeles. I'm sure there was different things that you saw in both places that made you need to have this passage in your life to then become an assembly member.
Well, I was born in Little Rock, Arkansas. My family was part of the civil rights movement.
Amazing.
My uncle was one of the Little Rock Nine, when the 9 kids integrated Central High School in 1957.
Oh my God.
Those 9 kids fought through a whole bunch of Klan people, people who were trying to kill them. They sent the 101st Airborne, Eisenhower, sent the 101st Airborne to escort them to high school every day. Think about this. These were black kids who were trying to get into high school. And because of them, I was able to go onto USC and to Harvard. Because of them, there are a lot of people of color that do not have to experience that
The same.
discrimination. And so every day I think about the shoulders I stand on. Every day I think about what I need to do. The story that I usually tell is when I was going to USC, I was having a really good time. I mean, like a really, really, really. I mean, academic probation, getting ready to kick out of school, good time.
Sheesh.
And I went to see my grandmother, and she would sit down with me and ask me about what's going on. I said, well, you never graduated from elementary school. Well, she would have a ladle in her hand. If it was in her left hand, it means we need to talk. When she switched it to the right hand, that means the beating started.
No way.
Well, I was sitting here talking smack, and all of a sudden I saw that ladle switch to the right hand. That meant shut up. And she said, look, when you were a little baby in Little Rock, Arkansas, the Klan called and basically said, get your son out of school, my Uncle Jefferson Thomas, or your grandson will never make it to school. She said that grandson was you.
Wow.
You have absolutely no right to give up this education, this fancy white education that you're getting right now. And ever since then, I've said, I've got to come back. I'm in my last year in the assembly.
Wow.
And so I still want to continue to do things because I
Yes.
think I owe it to them.
Yeah, you're part of a legacy.
Yeah, and they were chased out of Arkansas by the Klan. My grandfather had to be dressed up by the Masons as a woman
My
because they heard they were going to lynch him
gosh.
that night. And he came, and we have the house that's on Wilton Place.
Right.
He came out here. They brought him here. My family came here in '69, and we've been there ever since.
Assembly member,
Wow.
that's a crazy reality check, but I'm sure even with us, our generation or generations after, even before, black and brown, that sometimes choose not to vote because their vote doesn't matter, because they don't see the purpose in it, to understand what the people before us had to go through, suffer through, maybe not even make it through, in order for us to get these types of things, to be able to choose to go to your nearest school or your nearest polling place and give a vote that can affect your life. Usually other people are making those decisions for us, right? How do you see that, and what do you wish to tell both black and brown communities about their voice when it comes to voting?
It is so important for us to vote for people who care about us. and going to do things that are going to benefit us, and quit sitting on the sidelines.
Right.
When I hear people come to me and say, well, nothing really happens, I can't get my trash picked up, I can't get things done, there's too many homeless people and everything, and I ask them did they vote, and they say they didn't, then I said, then you're part of the problem, not part of the solution. The way you become part of the solution is you go out and elect people to do the things that you want. But most important, when you hear about issues that are really important to you, you need to vote for people who support your issues, and then you even show up and show out and let people know what you really feel. And we're missing that. We really are missing that.
And also to have people in these positions like yourself that are familiar with South Central, not quote unquote the new South LA or SOLA, or even somebody that went to USC. So you've seen, everything from when you moved here till now, and it's like you're familiar with the situation. Those are the type of people we need in the positions that you're in.
And I agree. And one of the proudest things that I've ever done in South Central Los Angeles is when the African American community comes to me, they say, well, all we hear is that you just favor Latinos. And then when I see Latinos, they say, well, all I hear is you favor African Americans. That tells me I'm doing a good job. That tells me that I'm not one or the other. I'm actually representing everyone and making sure that everyone gets the resources that they need. I'm in the 86% Latino district. I've been reelected 6 times.
Come on.
And so I've learned.
That's why our homie Jose calls you Tío Reggie. No, I do want to talk to you, Assembly Member, because there's something that I read, and to be honest, I thought this term was make-believe, the school to prison pipeline, right? Oh. And it's something that in your career you felt like, look, this got to go. We have to put our funds in the right places. We have to make sure that this stops us sending our kids from school straight to prison, making sure that the black and brown kids that are out here go in. And what was that calling for you, and why did you decide to make that change, or at least help make that change?
There's a word they use, genocide, and the genocide of black and brown communities had been going on in the prison system. There were 165,000 people that were incarcerated. That's more than most countries have that are incarcerated. A court order said we needed to reduce that. And so I worked really to end the school to prison pipeline as best we could. And what we found out is if we had programs that could help people get back into the community, get jobs, get educated, and move on. They did not recidivate, which means they didn't recommit crimes. So that number,
we didn't know that word. That's crazy. You do have 86% Latino district.
My school was like directly connected to a prison. That's why I didn't know that word.
And so that number's now down to 85,000 people that are now in prison. And so we can actually close prisons. If we close 2 prisons, we can save $250 million. If we close 10 prisons, we can save over $2 billion a year. And in a time where we have a budget deficit, that's really important. But most important, I would like to take that money, pour it back into the community, into recidivism programs, mental health programs, drug abuse programs, so that we don't continue to put people in prison or put them in insane asylums and things of that nature, that we can actually help our communities. And so that's why I'll be advocating now. And that's why it was so important to dismantle the school to prison pipeline, because we're not supposed to be caged animals and locked up.
What's crazy too is just understanding that language you have to use. If we close a prison, this is what we benefit from. Because I know other people, we see them as like, this is us, this is our family, black and brown. But you have to use the numbers, like when you're battling it out upstate or in DC, like this will save us here, and it's kind of got to be like that. Does it ever trip you out what a business it is versus actual? I'm sure you have empathy, but not everybody does, especially in these types of places.
For some people, you got to do a cost-benefit analysis. And what I do say to people who don't understand that I can send you to a UC 4-year, $100,000, 4-year scholarship, get you out of UC. You have a job. You're a productive member of society. Or I can spend $135,000 a year to incarcerate you. Do the math. Do the math. It's cheaper to send you to college than to send you to prison. Do the math. It's that simple. And for some people, they get it.
Yeah.
And for some people, they just want to go ahead and
They're
lock
like, no,
people up.
Here's the answer.
I
Straight away.
won't even get into the benefits of now they're not out there committing crimes.
Yeah.
I haven't even started on that. I'm just talking about the money.
The cost of to get you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Wow. Do people? So I've heard the term. I'm gonna write my assemblymen. Like, do people
good.
write you letters? Like, and what kind of letters do you receive? And like, is there any memorable ones that you've seen that like it's like, man, this letter really stood out to me?
So I'm the former chair of public safety, and so anyone and everyone that thinks that they were wrongly accused, or anyone they're having problems with the prison guards, they think there've been abuse. Anyone that thinks that they just need to be out earlier because they've done the right things to get out.
Yeah.
They call our office,
Wow.
or they write to our office.
Yeah.
And I have a plethora of letters that have come from inmates, families. The one letter that I got where we helped a young man that said he was wrongfully convicted, and we connected him with a group of lawyers that work on that type of things. And I kind of forgot about him. And then one day he was in my office.
Wow.
And he said, "Hey, thank you for connecting me. I'm now out.
Wow.
I've also sued the local police department, and I've gotten $1.6 million from the lawsuit from being wrongfully convicted.
Wow.
And because of you, I'm going to use that money to create a foundation
Oh
to
my
help
gosh.
other people who are incarcerated to be able to find legal services and other things to get out because they were wrongfully convicted." And that showed that, sometimes you just do a little something.
Yeah.
You just gotta
And you listen to somebody and just
connect
give them
some
a
dots
little
and get out
connect.
the
Yeah.
way and
And that was really heartwarming because when you're in the assembly, you do a law, and it doesn't get actuated until the next year.
Yeah.
And then you got to wait until the local level does something.
Right.
yeah.
I always remember, it's never legislation, it's implementation. That's the most important thing. And that's what people in the Congress and the Assembly need to understand. We need to find more accountability to make sure whatever we legislate actually gets done the way we legislated.
Yeah. And I'm sure even when you see someone like come up to your office and show you, like, that's the true testament of your work, like your work truly having been making a difference in someone's life, because you don't really get to see it until you see it right there in your face. One time I wrote someone in the White House to give my friend papers, and she didn't get papers. So I was like, I was like, please help my friend Viviana. She lives in apartment E. She's the best. She shares her toys. Please let her be a citizen. And then they literally wrote me back like, there's channels to do this. And I was like, oh wow, they write back. It's just cool to see that we can get a note back.
Yeah.
Some people don't even get text back.
And sometimes they'll write you back and tell you, let me connect the dots for you.
Right.
See,
And
if I
next
would've
thing
wrote
you know,
no, that's really cool that you're in here, that you're able to talk to us too. And I love that you're not afraid to hit those hard topics and to speak to both communities of color, brown and black, because often we don't have a unity between us. Often there's more of a disconnect, which is also false disconnect, because we have so much more in common. A lot of our struggles are similar, and just seeing you be able to be in here and help us bring this voice across, that your voice does matter when you vote, to all of our listeners that are black and brown, it's a very important thing, and it makes our work purposeful. We're up here, we're talking about hip-hop, and we're maybe making jokes, but this is why we're really doing this, to allow people to see their power.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the power is really in the people. And if once they understand that, they will start to exercise that power in a way that has never been done before.
Yep.
If you think about, I've never understood why Latinos loved Bernie back in the day. They probably still do.
Yeah.
And I couldn't connect. This is old white man from Vermont that
What
believes
is it
in
about
guns.
this guy?
What is it about this guy? And everyone that I talked to in my district, especially young Latinos, they said it was because of what he stood for. And I said, but you guys, they don't like Bernie. they love them
Yeah.
some Bernie Sanders.
It's because we all have grandpas that are like him.
They look
That
like him.
make,
You're-
hey,
you're
we're all
reminding
gonna
me.
share each
Yeah.
of you. I don't even like that you're here. Why are you
Yeah.
saying hi to me? Like we literally, that's our
Yeah,
love language.
for sure.
Treat us mean, we like you.
Yeah.
And he has like that harshness
And
about
then he used
it.
to sit in a chair the same way my grandpa sits in a chair.
Yeah, see, it's
With his
that.
hands folded like that. Wait, real quick before we get out of here. USC alumni. What do you think about the football team? What do you think about the basketball team? Bronny James, junior playing.
I think we're at the precipice of taking it to the next level.
Yeah.
The basketball team needs to really get some people. We have to have depth.
Right.
Yeah.
That's been our problem. We will have great on the first line,
Right.
Yep.
and then come the middle of the third quarter, fourth quarter, we start
it
to
just falls apart.
almost like
Yeah.
we run out of juice.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at the Alabamas and the Michigans, they are 3 and 4 deep.
Yes.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
they got people that would start on SC's team that are at the third string
Over there.
over there.
Sheesh.
And so once we start to get that depth, once we stop our California product, because we have the best athletes in the world
Come
in
on. Let's
go.
California,
Come
Yeah.
on.
leaving California and playing for California teams, then nobody will be able to stop us
Right.
after
Yeah.
that. We just got to that. And then the last thing,
Can we vote for that for them not to leave? Like, let's work on that. It'll be a bill. Yeah.
and we got to get some big guys,
Yeah.
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
300 pounders,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because we're now in the Big Ten.
In the Big
Yeah.
Ten,
Oh,
they're gonna be playing
if you look at
against
if you look at that
Michigan.
line, is like the little guy is like 302 pounds,
Yeah.
and they call him the little guy.
Yeah.
They call him tiny.
Man.
Yeah.
I want to, once we get off, I want you to tell me what you were doing at USC because you were like, I was going.
Oh, I was partying.
See? Look at that. Look at that.
Hold on, wait, what
Yeah.
years did you go?
Yeah, he was
What
a different
years?
kind of Trojan. Okay?
Wait, look, let me say it this way: we were national champions. We were national champions.
Did you,
I joined the fraternity.
No.
I was hot.
You
did you
were
go to
turning
school?
up.
Did you go to school at the same time as OJ?
No, not that
okay.
far back.
Yeah.
I'm a Marcus Allen guy.
Marcus.
That's
Oh,
where
he
tomorrow.
was killing it too. Wow.
And that's why your grandma was like, all right, this week is going moving to the right hand. And you right. And put you at
And
USC
she
to
was
be turning
she was
up.
good at thumping us in the head with
Yeah.
that ladle.
Yeah. See, and Bernie Sanders is like that for us. Yeah, see. Look, thank you so much, Assembly
You're
Member
welcome.
Reggie Jones-Sawyer, for coming through and talking to us. You got a new set of nieces and nephews here.
Yes.
Your,
All right.
your sobrinos. Anytime you come, we got you. And of course, if you're listening, make sure that you use that voice. Tu voz, tu voto, tu vida. Make sure you follow at Voz Voto Vida. And our guy Reggie, where can we find you? Do we have a social media for you? Or just write you letters? Give me your address.
Just write it.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
right.
write.
Just
Right.
writing letters.
Old fashioned way.
Write the capital.
All you have to do is there's only one Reggie in the assembly.
Come on.
Yeah.
Two Reggie
So
at assembly.
yeah,
Yeah.
Reggie, just call my assembly office.
We got it. And,
Okay.
and the door is yours anytime you want to come in here.
Would
Thank
love
you
to.
so much for coming through.
No, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Of course. Power 106, LA's #1 for hip hop. Buenos
All
dias.
right.